Hi, good evening, everybody, and very, very big welcome to you, and a huge thank you for registering and coming onto this webinar this evening. So I just want to check that you are actually on the right webinar, and we can see there by the screen, itchy bitchy, sweaty, sleepy, bloated, forgetful, and psycho. So are you one of the 7 dwarves of hormonal imbalance? I know that I can be all 7 at times, that's for sure. And it's just hard work. It really is hard work. So my name's Sunny Barnett. I'm a speaker, author, and your show host for this evening, and I've got an amazing guest for you tonight as well. Now, before we get into that, I just want to check a couple of things that everybody can actually hear me, and if you can't hear me, then I'll have to do the intro again. So to show me that you can hear me, would you just put your hand up? There's a little hand on your control panel. If you just click on that, it looks like it goes down, but if you click on that, then I know that you can actually hear me. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, everybody that's coming. And there's people coming in as well to the webinar. So we'll just carry on because I will provide you all with the recording as well. And there's going to be a free gift for you at the end of this webinar also. So it's worth hanging out and staying till the end. So let me ask you this question. Are you suffering from any of the following problems, either once a month or even daily? That could be heavy, painful and irregular periods, stress and mild anxiety. You could be suffering from hot flushes, mood swings, headaches, bloating, fluid retention, food cravings, skin breakouts, tender and sore breasts. Now, if being a woman wasn't hard enough already, with all of those to contend with, it makes life a bit tricky. And I know for certain, I was actually talking to my daughter recently, and the poor love actually really does have very heavy, painful, and irregular periods. And of course, when you're a teenager and you're going through that, as well as having to contend with coming up for choosing your exams at school, it's a very, very stressful time and does create a lot of anxiety. So that's for our teenagers. But even as we get older, we have to deal with this every single month. And for those of us that have irregular periods, then we're having to deal with it at the most inconvenient times. So it's no wonder really that we go crazy and the poor guys suffer. But if that's not bad enough, we then reach an age where we're perhaps less reproductive and we go through yet another set of symptoms. So those are things like hot flushes again, mood swings, anxiety, night sweats. And trust me, the night sweats are not fun. I'm 53 years old and I'm perimenopausal. So I'm not having the greatest time of it at the moment. So there's loss of libido, irritability, fatigue, hair loss, bloating, weight gain, headaches, itchy skin. So it is no wonder that we turn into the psycho woman from hell. Now tonight I've invited my guest, the most amazing woman I've come across. She's so knowledgeable, Heather Billing. She's an international speaker with 15 years of experience in health and wellness. She's here to tell you her story tonight of how she suffered for years with irregular periods, heavy bleeding, cramps, mood swings, low energy net levels, until she discovered a range of natural products that completely changed her life. Now, it sounds very simple, doesn't it? Just to start using a range of products. And for those of you that have really suffered from this, you might have even visited the doctor and they might give you some sort of pill or potion for you to take, or you know what, it's just one of those things, you're a woman, you have to get on with it. Now, Heather today is going to really share her story with you. She now speaks about women's hormonal problems and how, by taking just a few simple steps, we can look at alleviating these issues and in some cases, eliminating them completely. I'm really, really looking forward to this because, quite frankly, I'm fed up of having headaches. I'm fed up of crying. And I'm just fed up with the hot flushes. So if you're here on your own, if you've got teenage daughters, you've got sisters, mothers, then do let them have this recording afterwards because it's going to benefit them. And let's not forget the guys as well. Share this information with them because there are some situations that are going on in our environment right now that are affecting the guys as well. So, without further ado, I'd like to say hi to you, Heather.
Hi, Sunny.
I'm going to change the screen so that we can see your presentation. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming onto this webinar today and sharing your story with us and sharing with us exactly what we can do to alleviate these problems. So, swapping over to you now.
Thank you, Sunny. It is my privilege to, sorry, just bear with me one moment. Now, Sunny, just confirming that you have the presentation up.
I do not, because I've just swapped the screen to you. Should we do that again?
My apologies, everybody.
I'll tell you what, have you got the presentation on your screen? Because if you haven't, I can take it back and I can go through the presentation for you instead.
Yes, that would be wonderful, because I was expecting that the presentation would come up when you made me the presenter, so apologies for that.
No
miscommunication.
No problem at all. Hang on a second.
So just while Sunny's actually bringing that up onto your screen, everyone, it is my absolute privilege to share with you something that I am very passionate about, because just as Sunny was sharing the different symptoms that we go through the different stages of our lives, then, and trying to cope, as she was saying, trying to cope with it and manage life in general. And for myself, not actually getting any answers was one of the things that was most frustrating for me, because I started right from a very early age having problems with irregular cycles. And I remember when I was around 13, my mum actually took me to the doctor, and we, were discussing different options as to how that something could be done to make my life a little more bearable around that time of the month, because I used to get excruciating cramping, and of course if that happened when I was at school, I would end up curled up in a ball in the sick bay and not being able to do anything. And so I was definitely looking for some answers, and being 13 and going to the doctor and actually being told that once I had a baby everything would sort itself out was really not the answer that I was looking for at that time, because obviously that was something that, was way off in the horizon. And I was thinking, okay, well, that's one, solution. However, that's not something that's going to help me right now. So I sort of put up with it, because in our family we have a history. I remember when I was quite young, my mum had a hysterectomy, and then also on my dad's side of the family, with his sisters, they had hysterectomies and hormonal challenges, infertility issues. And so what I was actually going through was kind of considered, well, it's normal. This is what you can expect. You're a woman, and this is what you can expect every month. And I tell you, that wasn't sounding very exciting at all. And I battled on, tried different things, tried doing some research and trying some natural solutions that sort of helped, but then, didn't make a huge difference. And as I actually got older and was, around 18, 19, that type of age, I actually went on the pill for a period of time to see if that could actually help. And of course, what that did was that it did give me a regular cycle. However, I was still experiencing all the symptoms, and it wasn't really making a huge difference. And so I did actually go off the pill, after a period of time. So when we came across this amazing range of natural products, I was at a point where that I was willing to do anything. I'm not sure if any of you have gotten to that point where that you're just, sick and tired of being the way that you are, and you're like, okay, what else is out there? And I really do believe that when we're actually searching for something, that we will actually find an answer. I think things do happen for a reason, and sometimes they probably go on longer than perhaps we would like them to. However, the fact that you're actually on this webinar tonight, I think is absolutely wonderful. Of course, this might actually just start your journey of awareness and actually taking on a bit of responsibility for your health and actually doing some research of your own and seeing what information that you can actually find out there as well that could really make a difference to your situation, because I really do believe that we do need to take responsibility for our own health, because there's lots of answers out there, but it's actually finding someone who can give you the information that makes sense intuitively for you. And I believe, you know, as women, we do have that great inner sense, and when I came across this information, to me, it just made so much sense, and it was like, oh, okay, this is what I've been looking for. I can understand how this could work, and of course then I had the wonderful results that I had. And so just wanting to say as well that obviously I am a woman, and I've had the experience in my own life, and of course we've helped many other women and men along the way. As we came across the information, I felt that there was a real need to actually share this with other people, because more and more women that I talked to were having similar problems to what I'd experienced. And so that began our journey of making some suggestions and you know, working with products that could actually make a difference. And in saying that, however, I'm not a qualified health practitioner. This is just information that other people have used, and their stories that have come from that. So obviously, if you're wanting to get, you know, practitioner advice, then go to the practitioner that you would normally go to for that kind of advice. However, there is a lot that I think that we will cover tonight that will just start that thought process going over in your mind, just to think about different things that you may be able to do slightly different to get the results that you're after. How are we going with the presentation, Sunny?
Well, where do you need me to be right now? I'm on the second slide. Many people don't do well because they don't feel well. Jim Rohn.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm not actually. Okay, beautiful. Now I can see the slides.
Excellent.
We're right on track, everybody. Thank you for your patience.
Good.
Yes, that is a fantastic quote of Jim Rohn's. He is actually someone who has a lot of great philosophy that we take on. But one of the things that he says, or he used to say, unfortunately he's passed on now, that many people don't do well because they don't feel well. And that was definitely the situation that I was at the time, because not only was I experiencing all these different hormonal challenges, my energy levels were really low as well. And, you know, so come 9 o'clock at night, it was like, oh, I've got to get home, got to get to bed, because I've got to go to work the next day, and I just won't, if I don't get enough sleep, I won't have the energy to do what I need to do. And so, you know, for those of you that are feeling like that, then there's so much that you can't do, because you just don't have the energy and the get up and go, basically, to get up and go. So it really is important to actually look at different things that can give you your health and vitality back, so that you can enjoy life and achieve the things that you want to achieve. Next slide.
Oh, there we go.
And so one of the things that some friends of ours who actually knew a little bit about vitamins at the time, when I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, when I was needing to go to bed early, they actually suggested to us, maybe you need some vitamins. Now, if you grew up like I did, fortunately I grew up on a farm in the country, so Mum and Dad actually grew a lot of their food, which was fantastic. We had a big vegetable garden. And so the concept of actually supplementing with vitamins or minerals, that sort of thing, it was basically a concept that everything that we needed we would get out of the food that we actually ate. And to a certain degree, I believe that was true. However, what is actually happening in this country and many other countries around the world is that our soils are depleted of minerals. And so when our food is actually grown in those soils, the food isn't taking up the minerals because they're not there. and we're not actually getting everything that we require. So for optimum health, that's what our body requires on a daily basis. And, you know, that sometimes is, well, mostly I believe, is not actually happening. And so that leads to different deficiencies that we actually experience. And so part of this journey of actually looking at our wellness was looking at the foods that we eat and just how the hormonal system is so interlinked, of course, with all the other systems in the body. And if we're not giving the body the things that it needs to build with, then we don't actually have that optimal health, and all the functions in our body actually aren't working as well as they could be. Next. So you may actually know of people in your life. Most people are unfortunately touched by cancer these days, whether it's someone in their family, friends, and you might question and say, well, why are all these diseases on the rise? There's so many people that have diabetes, asthma, you know, Parkinson's disease, and we have to actually look at the synthetic chemicals that are actually in our bodies. There's got to be a reason why this is happening, and I do believe that it is the environment that we're living in, and there are definitely things that we can do to support our systems much better. So we do need to learn about the chemicals that are in our lives and in our homes and in our personal care products and in the food that we eat. When we first came across this information, we had absolutely no idea about chemicals, and of course it was 16 years ago. Fortunately, since then there's been a lot more information available in the media, and so people are becoming more aware and becoming a lot more educated. But if you just look at some of those pictures there on the screen and just think about what our bodies are actually exposed to and are trying to deal with, then it's not half, you know, it does explain quite a bit of the fact that people are unwell and our hormones aren't working as we would like them to work. People are getting, you know, chronic diseases. And so when we become aware of these kind of things, we can make some simple changes. Now, I talked about the fact that when we grew up that we were told that we would get everything we needed out of the food that we ate. And of course we know that the minerals aren't present. However, we need to look also at what they actually do to our food before we eat it. So when we used to have our own little garden that we would grow and we would pick it and eat it straight away. However, food is being transported across country, it's been put in refrigeration to keep it supposedly fresh, and then there's all the other things that we do to it as well, and so it's taking the nutrition out of it. And so the food value is just not there in a lot of things that we are eating, unfortunately. And of course, fresh is best, and we would recommend for any kind of health challenges that you are going through that you look at your diet. Obviously, the things, the less processed food that you're having, and more fresh that you're actually consuming is going to make a huge difference to the actual process and the function of your body. There's a great movie out there at the moment, some of you may be aware of it, the Sugar Film, which talks about all the hidden sugars that are in processed foods. And, you know, so obviously wherever possible, fresh is best. And just looking at what we actually eat is a fantastic idea. One of the range of products that we actually have is a weight management system, and in that system actually comes a wonderful little booklet to explain how the system works. Sunny will be able to direct you to that if you're interested, but it gives you a guide of suggested foods to eat. And I found that to be really helpful, because often we can think, oh, well, we are eating really, you know, we're eating quite well, we're eating quite healthy. However, this has actually been designed by a naturopath, and So, you know, it's got the list of foods that are the best foods for us to eat. And it's great to have that as a guide, because then you know that the things you're putting into your body are things that are going to give you that fuel and the energy that you need. And it helps you then to cut down on the things that may not be quite as good for you as well. So just to recap what I have been saying about the mineral deficiencies in the soils that leads to mineral deficient plants that lead to mineral deficient us. And one of the great products that we actually have is a plant-based colloidal mineral, and this allows the body 98% absorption. And it is comparing that to inorganic or metallic minerals that we may actually supplement with, which only give us 3 to 12% absorption. So we're getting maximum absorption with the plant-based colloidal minerals, and this was something that made a huge difference to me when I actually got started on it. What I actually found, because with everything that was going on in my body and the way that my health was that my bowel motions weren't regular. And again, this was something that was quite common in our family. And within 2 to 3 days, I actually noticed that I was actually needing to go every day, which was unusual, you know, for me and the way that my body actually worked. The other thing that I love about the colloidal minerals is that for me, it actually gives me energy. And it's suggested that you take it morning and evening. However, some days I just feel like I need a little bit of a pick-me-up in the afternoon, or, you know, just before I go to do the school run or something like that. I'll actually just have a dose of the colloidal minerals, and I just find that it just gets me through that afternoon, you know, sluggishness that sometimes that we can experience. And so I find that this is a fantastic product to actually take. Now, there's a group of products there, and of course I'm not going to go through all of them now, but that is a little bit of what you can get started with if you're wanting to detox and nutrify your body, which is a system that we actually have. And that just helps the liver to start working more efficiently, for the kidneys to actually, you know, be processing everything properly. And what is great about that is that if you're suffering from hormonal challenges, often the liver is not working as efficiently as it could be. And it will just, as it's described, detoxify and nutrify. It will actually get everything working a lot more efficiently, so that you can then experience a lot more balance throughout your body. Now, we put this in for a little bit of fun because as Sunny started off with, you know, we can relate to this. We may have experienced feeling like, you know, one of them or all of them at different times of the month, and it isn't something that is pleasant at all. And it is definitely something that we can do so much about, so that you are actually feeling so much better. And depending on where you are and what age group that you're actually at, of course, you know, you might be experiencing different ones of these as opposed to what you used to suffer from, or, you know, vice versa. So there's definitely lots of things we can do. We can get rid of all these dwarfs for you and make life so much better. And so when we actually look at the whole hormonal system and we actually ask that question, why are our hormones out of balance? And the system that is inside our body, and it controls growth and development, moods, metabolism, sexual function, sleep, and the immune function. And this is just a little picture to actually show you how the endocrine system works and how the hormones are actually released into the bloodstream and the surrounding tissues. And so this actually helps to create the changes in the cell so that your body can respond to what's going on. And obviously you can see that there's the receptors for the hormones that are on that target cell. And when everything is working perfectly, then those receptors are, you know, getting the message across. However, what actually happens is that we have endocrine disruptors that come in, and they will actually take over those little receptors so that the message isn't getting across as it should be, and therefore our hormones then get out of balance. So endocrine disruptors are things that mimic the body's natural hormones and mess up our balance. And of course, they're found in so many different things. And basically, they are a result of the world that we live in. And of course, they're found in personal care products, pesticides, foods, plastic, and synthetic hormones. And I've just got a great little article here that I found that just gives us a little bit more information on what they actually do. So endocrine disruptors exist in a broad variety of products in today's society, and these are things that you may not have even considered, but just to give you an idea of how that they surround us on a daily basis. So most receipts, food packaging, plastic bottles, some money, lining inside of cans, so inside, for example, your tin of tomatoes, the lining that's inside that, and even toilet paper can contain one or more of these types of chemicals that can have an adverse effect on the body and its ability to produce and regulate hormones. When a frozen package is thrown into a microwave or hot water, this also greatly increases the potency of these chemicals. And just on that point as well, you should never put plastic in the microwave to heat up food. If you are going to use a microwave, it's always best to actually put something in glass because, as it's saying here, when you heat up the plastic, then you're getting these endocrine disruptors coming out of that plastic. The most dangerous of these, however, probably comes in the form of pesticides that are sprayed onto crops and eventually end up in our food and water supply. When examining the health concerns associated with endocrine disruptors, researchers noted the link between prenatal exposure to these chemicals and the onset of development disorders in the mother's children. So this is something that is being passed down from generation. And how this would result in further economic costs on a larger scale. Endocrine disrupting chemicals can imbalance the hormones in a pregnant mother and may also be responsible for infertility and other pregnancy complications. So these little endocrine disruptors, they're messing us up and are causing all sorts of problems. However, we can do things to counteract their effect on our bodies, and we're going to get into that as well. So just to give you a little bit of hope, it's not all bad news. And of course, we've talked about them being in personal care products, and when we came across this information, it was totally foreign to us. We had no concept that the products that we were using every day were affecting our health, and we started actually looking at labels and looking at the ingredients and becoming a little bit more aware, because as you can see there, that 884 of the ingredients were actually found to be toxic. And of these, there's all these different complications that come around, and of course there's reproductive complications, biological mutation, so change in the cells. Now this information was published in 1994. Now that's almost back in the olden days. The information has been around for so long. However, unfortunately, most companies have not done a lot about their personal care products and their household products that they provide. And so even the information being available, people have continually been exposing themselves to all sorts of nasty things just through, showering and brushing their teeth and doing the general things that we do on a daily basis. And of course, when we look at the amount of products that we do actually use, there may only be small quantities. However, there's the accumulation effect of multiple products that we use on a daily basis and over a long period of time. So there are some great alternatives out there that you can avoid all these kind of ingredients that are going to cause potentially these product problems. And so that's what we like to use and recommend. So you can just take a screenshot of this, or if you've got your pen and paper there, just jot some of these names down, because rather than running off to check into your bathroom, these were some of the things that when we looked at our products, we were like, wow, they're actually in there. We had no concept of what they were, first of all, and that the fact that they could be potentially harmful. So just some of the things to look out for. And of course, we didn't have a science background or anything like that, and we looked at labels and we couldn't work out what was good or what was not. So that's why we decided to actually use a range of products that have been with a company that's been avoiding over 3,000 chemicals. And that way we don't have to be the experts. We just trust that the company's got the scientists and the qualified people looking at the labels and the ingredients, and we can just use them and have peace of mind around using them. Now, this is a real big concern, and some of you may actually know people in this situation where that they're trying to conceive, and some people try for many years and unfortunately don't have a whole heap of success. And of course we know that IVF is an answer for a lot of people, and it's becoming more and more popular because of the fact that people are unable to conceive naturally. And we've actually had really good results with what we suggest with people being able to conceive, and then also to sustain the pregnancy, because that's the other thing, that sometimes people will find that they can fall pregnant quite easily, but it's the sustaining of that pregnancy. So there's miscarriages and things like that can be sometimes a challenge. And we had a wonderful experience with a couple personally that were, the husband was in his early 50s and the wife was in her early 40s, and they were wanting to have a child together for their first child. And we considered their age, and they were also considering, what the chances might be given that the age that they actually were. And so we made some suggestions on things that the nutritional supplements that they could take, and then also converting their household over to safe products. And what was great about that situation was that the husband and the wife were both on the same path, and of course we know that both partners contribute to the outcome, and so they both decided, okay, this is what we want to do. And within 12 months they had actually conceived their little baby girl, who is now almost turning 5 in January, believe it or not. But what was also really exciting about their experience was that not only did they conceive a beautiful daughter, but their aches and pains and their itchy scalps and different other health concerns that they were experiencing were disappeared as well. So they got better health from that whole experience as well. So when we're actually looking at that, it's important to realise that the male is just as much a contributor to the infertility. Often in the past it was considered that if you were unable to conceive, that okay, the woman needed to go and get checked out, and now it's 50-50. So just to give you an idea, the hormonal challenges that we as women experience are a lot more obvious, of course, because we have our monthly cycles, and the world can fall apart in that month. However, just to give you the idea that it's affecting men just as much as it is affecting women, and so the low sperm counts and the prostate cancer and different things like that the males are now experiencing as well, and of course the contributing factor for infertility just as much as women. So it's important to do what we can to support the body to be in balance and to help the whole process go forward. So achieving balance naturally with chaste tree and wild yam. Now these are two really, really great ingredients. They're naturally occurring, and they, to me, are miracle products. miracle ingredients. And of course, they're actually one of the products that we have, which is our balancing cream. And what they actually do is that we apply the cream to our body, and depending on where we're at, if we're still having our cycle, if we're in the reproductive years, we actually use it for 21 days. And then when we get our period, we stop, and then on the 7th day, we recommence the use of the cream. And it's just a small amount, 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon, but I tell you, what's in that 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon is amazing. It can make such a difference. Now, if you're not getting a regular cycle, or you're going through menopause, or you're on the other side, then you can actually use the balancing cream continually. You don't have to have that break. And the other thing that it is really, really helpful for as women get older, so you may not be having any menopausal symptoms, everything's fine as far as your hormones go. However, using it in conjunction with the colloidal-based minerals that we talked about earlier in the slides will actually really help with the bone density, which as women, as we age, can be of a concern. The bone density, does decrease. So that's something to look at if you're in those latter years where that you're wanting to really support your bones. And so the cream is going into the bloodstream, and it's allowing the body to produce what hormones are actually needed. Because as you know, our hormones are constantly fluctuating depending on what's going on in our lives. And so it's giving the body the power to actually, if it needs progesterone, to produce the progesterone. If it needs testosterone, then it can produce the testosterone. This is definitely something that men can use as well, and also it's perfectly safe for children. Depending on what age that your children are, they have different ages where that they are releasing a lot of hormones, like lots of hormonal activity going on through their growth and development, and at the different phases that they're at. And I'm sure if you have kids, you've experienced times when you were like, oh, that wasn't a nice mood. So that's obviously a situation where that it's totally safe to put it on children. The other great thing about this cream is that it is fantastic for any kind of inflammation in the body as well. And so it is great for arthritis, swollen joints. You can rub it into your joints and get some great relief. It's great for bruises or burns. So really for us, not only it is a lifesaver for hormones, but it's actually in our first aid kit. And it's something that we grab whenever we need something because it really is great for so many different things. Just on the hormonal side too, with women that are going through menopause, when they're having the hot flushes, we've had some women actually carry it in their handbags, and as they feel a hot flush coming on, they'll grab out the cream and put some on, and it can actually help to have the hot flush subside. So for women, so you out there that are suffering from the hot flushes at night, I would suggest that even rubbing some into the bottom of your feet, which is very relaxing. It smells amazing as well. It may help that night sweats. That'll be a great little demonstration for you, a little experiment for you to do to see if that does make a difference. And it can definitely be something that can just bring about that balance. And of course, if you're suffering from stress or anxiety as well, then putting a little bit of the cream on can be very calming and relaxing. So we have two collections, which are the Balancing Collection 1 is for women who are still in that reproductive years, and of course we have the Balancing Cream, we have the Women's Multivitamin Essentials, and then we have the Balance Tablet, which is specific herbs that they're put together to support women in those reproductive years. So that is a fantastic collection. Of course, I would always suggest for anyone looking at either of these collections that you would add the colloidal minerals to it, because the minerals are just so essential for every function. And I've actually done a little bit of experimenting with this myself and had been on the products for quite a few years, 12 years, and had actually run out of the minerals. And I thought, oh, well, I've been taking it for that long, surely, I'll be able to carry on until I order some more. So what ended up happening was that in that month I was probably out of the minerals, like not taking the minerals for a week and a half to 2 weeks before the next bottle arrived. And what I actually noticed in that time was that when I got my period that month, that I started to have those same symptoms that I'd experienced in the beginning, with the bloating and the mood swings and the headaches. And I sort of really stopped and thought, okay, so what is it that I've been doing different this month? And the only thing that I could come up with was the fact that, okay, I hadn't had those minerals. And so it was really great to reinforce for me how important that they are. So, of course, we would add that to these two collections. And then the balancing collection 2 is then for the perimenopausal or menopausal women. You've got your balancing cream, again, the multivitamin essentials, and then the transitions, which is a great combination, again, of herbs specific for women in those transitioning years. So you may actually be asking yourself the question, okay, so this sounds good, how do I access these great products so that I can make a difference to the way I'm feeling? So it really is as simple as becoming a customer. And by doing that, there's a great discount and rewards program that we have. If you're really suffering in, health-wise, we would really strongly suggest to convert your home, do some research about the ingredients that are in the products that you're currently using, and you will really notice a huge difference when you're able to eliminate most of those harmful ingredients. And of course, by doing that, and if you do share the opportunity with, the results that you've had with people that you know and love, because that's what we naturally do when we find something that works and can make a difference, we tell other people about it, and there is the opportunity to get your products for free by doing that. So I just want to thank you for your time tonight. I hope that you've learnt a little bit of the things that you can do and the difference that can be made. And there is definitely an opportunity to have a healthier you, as not only I've experienced, but many people that we've been able to help have experienced as well. So back to you, Sunny.
Heather, that was just really good information. I want to thank you so much for sharing with us not only your personal story, but also that of people that have been using these products and were able to conceive. I mean, that's just amazing as well. And it was interesting to learn that you came off the products for a while and then obviously had those same discomforts that you had experienced at the beginning. So it was really eye-opening actually to hear that information. So what I'd like to say is that this is your opportunity to ask some questions. So if you do have any questions for us, just type them in the question box. I can have a look and see what comes through, and then we can ask Heather those questions. So a couple of things that I kind of noticed there is that we can go along for many, many years just thinking it's us, Heather.
Yes.
That it's our problem and that there is nothing that we can do about it.
Absolutely, Sunny. And going also, and look, nothing against the medical system, however, my experience was that I just couldn't get the answers I was after. So you can be in a situation where that you're feeling a certain way and you may be going to your doctor and just not getting what you feel that you need. And so that's why I really suggest that you talk to people that use these products, you do some research of your own, because really the information is out there. And you know, Sunny, you're a wonderful person to be able to direct people in the right way to really get the answers that they're looking for. And I tell you, from my experience, it was such a load off my shoulders to go from where I was. And, you know, it was in a short time frame, within 3 months. So within the first month, a lot of my PMS symptoms had disappeared. And then within 3 months, I had a regular cycle. And, you know, it was something that just happened, and it was like, oh, wow, okay, I've got my period. Well, I'll just get on with my life. Whereas before, it was, oh, no, I've got my period. It's debilitating. Yeah. So, you know, it's hard, I guess, for people, and I know initially for me it was hard for me to get my mind around how something so simple could make such a difference. But now I understand that the body was getting what it was needing through the supplementation and reducing the toxic load, the chemicals that I was putting onto my body, and so balance was able to be achieved a lot more easily. So it does really make a difference.
And you know, the way that I see this as well, it's almost like we're creating a sort of shield, really, a shield that comes from inside but will affect us externally, because there's nothing that we can do about the pollution. There's nothing much that we can do about the food in the respect that even if we choose the best foods that are available to us, that, you know, we perhaps buy direct from farms and they're organic foods, we can't guarantee the quality of those foods because, as you said, the soil is not of the quality that it once was. So by actually taking these supplements, we're kind of creating an internal protection against that.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, there's so many things that our bodies are exposed to that we can't do anything about, but just giving it that little bit extra to help it be strong, help it to be healthy, makes all the difference.
Absolutely. So for everybody here, just to recap for you, we've got 2 collections. The Balancing Collection 1 is for those of you that do suffer from PMS symptoms, so any of those PMS symptoms at all. And what we're going to do actually is we're going to send you out a questionnaire. So you'll get this at the end of the webinar sent to you. It's a questionnaire that you can complete, and that will actually tell you where you've got problems in terms of your hormonal balances. We've got the Balancing Collection 2, which is for those of you that are perimenopausal or menopausal or even afterwards. So those are the products that you will need. Now, Heather, you also recommended the colloidal minerals as well?
Yes, definitely with that collection, yeah.
Okay.
Either of those.
Okay, fine. Well, what I've done for you is I've made it really easy. Because if you have a look under Balancing Collection 1, there is a link for you. So all you need to do is use these links, and that will take you directly to these collections. Okay, so you'll see that you'll go onto a website called Modere. Can you see that on the screen?
Yes.
Yep. So you're going to click on those links, and you're going to come straight to either this collection here, your collection 1 or collection 2. And literally all you have to do is click on add to cart. Once you go into the cart and you actually pay for your goods, then you'll be asked to actually register. So you can register beforehand, and you can order your product straight from there. Now, before you complete your order, just go and have a little look around, because you can see that we have a range of personal care products and the household care products as well. So just by clicking on any of those, you can have a good look and see what's available to you. So we've got beautiful hair products, amazing skin products. I've been using the body butter again today. It's one of our favourite products. And the sunscreen, by the way, I used that this weekend. For those of you that in Australia, we had a hot weekend this weekend, and it was my first exposure to the sun, and I actually used the sun cream there as well. So again, if we come back up to the top, you've then got coming back to the shop, you've got your health and wellness products. So this is where you're going to find your colloidal minerals as well. Okay, so have a little look around. Okay, use that code that I've given to you, and I'll actually put those codes for you in the chat box. So you've got them. So just bear with me while I take a copy of them.
Now, just to add to that, Sunny, there would be the natural mineral drink.
Okay.
There were actually two. However, if you got the other one, it would still work just as well. However, I actually prefer the one that's in the blue bottle, the natural mineral drink, because I've just found that for me, I like the taste of it, and I like the results that I get. So there are two options there, and whichever one you choose will be fine.
Excellent, excellent. So what I've done is I've put those two links in the chat box for you. I shall also send you an email with that questionnaire, and you will also get. Can we give them the article that you read out there, Heather?
Yes, we should be able to do that most definitely as well.
Excellent, because I think that's really useful information. So we'll send that out to you as well. If you've got any questions, just come back to me. You'll have my email address, and I will talk to you about those as well. Now, like I say, just go and have a little look. You'll see on the website that there's a number of different ways that you can shop. You can either just be a straightforward customer, you can recommend the products, and you can get discounts off of your orders as well. Or you can actually look at further rewards with perhaps earning some money from that as well. So just come back to me if you need to ask any questions. And I'd like to just finish off by saying a very, very big, huge thank you to you, Heather, for being my guest today and providing us with such incredible information.
Thank you, Sunny. It's my privilege to be able to help in any way that I can.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And thank you, everybody, for attending. I think that shows courage and tenacity, that you really want to find out what's going on in your own environment and what's going on with your own bodies, and basically taking responsibility and taking control for what you put in your body and what you put on your body. So I'd like to say thank you so much for being here, and we'll talk to you again soon, no doubt. Take care now. Night-night.
Good night.